Today, we are talking about going beyond the yuck. On Saturday, I had one of those days, and I just woke up feeling like I had the weight of the entire world on my back. And I just was like, I don't know if I don't even know how to identify it. I was like, it was like something like anxiety and depression and sadness and furious and angry and just like an emotional yuck wreck. And instead of trying to overfeed myself or overdrink myself because I'm really playing in this space of congruency, that's my word for this year. I said, stop, right? It's like, stop, I have tools. And it took me getting out. I swam, and after I swam, I still was in it. But it took me time of separating, changing my environment, and then going, what am I going to do with myself? It's not like, it's like, well, I could go shopping or like I could do all these things to avoid it. But it was like one of those times that I was like, no, wait, I have tools. And so today I'm going to share with you some of the unique tools that got me unhooked and back into magic. It took a couple hours. And for one, I think that it's sort of like, how we've mentioned on a couple of feeds that I said, well, the thing with the Trello boards is you have to open Trello. Well, the thing with the yuck is you have to open your toolbox. So step number one, remember that you have tools to change this. Two, you also have to remember to receive the tools because you can ask questions like, who does it belong to, right? But if you don't actually ask the question, or you don't have somebody, it's even better if somebody else can ask you a question, then you stay stuck, right? And I remember back when I was working with Brendan Burchard, he said, really, there's four. I think there's four things that a being really desires, right? There's kind of these four areas, and this was one of the things that I started with. And there's it's like four aspirations. I think aspirations was the word of your being. So I was like looking at maybe where did I get stuck in one of these, aspirations, right? It's sort of like, where is that? And here's what the four are. It's like your state of being, like you aspire to be more, for the lack of a better word, right? Like you aspire to have better connection with consciousness, whether you know it or not, no matter where you are or who you are. Like you have desires to become, right? Become more, be more. So you have that. Number two is you have an aspiration for how you relate to others. Like you want relationships to deepen. You want them to grow. You want them to expand. You want them to end even, right? You have aspirations for how you relate in this world. You have aspirations to contribute and create, right? And this is like across the board, no matter who you are. Like you don't have to be an entrepreneur to want to create, right? You may want to create I don't know why I always say garden, but the gardens, they grow, they're like nature, but you have an aspiration to create and contribute to others and consciousness often. And then then the last aspiration is this aspiration to grow, right? Or mastery even. And so I got to thinking about that, and then I brought in access tools. So where is the conclusion with where I may not be growing? Where's the conclusion where I may not be contributing or creating? Where's the conclusions where I may not be relating? Where are the conclusions where I'm not being? Okay. And I was like, oh, fuck, because there was just so much that came up in every one of the categories. And I was like, I think this is my call to step up. Okay. So did that change that emotional like ick in my heart? Not entirely, but it started it. And then I thought, well, let's crazy statement this out. And so with every single one of those, I went, okay, so with this, the way that I'm being, who does it belong to? B factor, the whole thing, right? Who, with this being, who does it belong to? What am I being? When am I being? Why am I being? Totally unpresent, right? And so one of the things that I wrote down to choose happiness, for the lack of a better word, to be happy, one of my requirements is be present, right? And then I started playing with relating, and crazy statement that everything's opposite of what appears to be, nothing's opposite of what appears to be. Now, if I flip things and how I'm relating with people and how I'm frustrated with people and who I'm frustrated with, right? If I flip it and take out and that I'm not frustrated, that I actually see them, right? I don't love the way that they're choosing to relate to me, but that's okay. They're choosing that. That's theirs. That's theirs. That's theirs. That was the next layer, which then, interestingly enough, it got me out of my yuck and into me praising them, right? Being grateful for them, seeing them with their stuff, right? They've got issues, right? Seeing that, right? Just being able to just be present and see that, okay? And then I went to creating and how I'm failing at it so much, right? Again, conclusion that I'm failing at it. Conclusion that I'm not contributing enough, right? And cool, that's a cool awareness. I can make a new choice. All right, so I'm getting the, and then after I'm going through this and looking at my growth and wanting the growth and the lighthouses this year, I got to this place of, okay, so I have a lot of conclusions. I still have a lot of stuff to work on to get to the space of congruency. And then I got to really playing with the thing, the number one thing that got me unhooked. How much do I love acting like a human muggle? How much do I love acting like a human muggle? How much do I love fitting in, relating as a human? How much do I love in training to the bullshit of this reality? I mean, there is a lot of people that are in a lot of pain emotionally, physically, and they don't have the resources to get that. And how much do I love perceiving all of their stuff and not actually moving forward for me? And when it got flipped enough, I finally felt like magic and back in my bliss and back in my flow. And today we are going to take this like even deeper than that. Because what then from like, if we would have done this call on Sunday, heck, if I was going to talk to anybody on Saturday, but if we were going to move forward on Sunday, this call would have just probably ended right about there and we would have like been able to move forward. But it didn't. And what happened with that processing of myself and 3 pages of journal writing was that I ended up kind of really being at do you hear the language? I was kind of really at peace by the time I went to bed. I wasn't totally, but I was fine, right? I mean, at the beginning of the day, I just kind of was like, I'm just going to hide under the covers and watch Netflix all day and maybe like drink myself into an oblivion. I mean, that's really how I felt. And it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it hits me like it hits all of you. So I wanted to come and say, you know what? I stayed with it this time. And you know what? It worked out a heck of a lot better than if I would have like, drank myself into an oblivion, because this time I woke up glorious. During the night, I prayed. One of the speakers I talked to at one point, her name was Alicia Power, and she said, well, I've got these, spiritual texts that I can just lay down and ask them to do their work. And so that night I laid down and I said, hey, all my techie, or all my, she called them techie, like spiritual texts, right? So because they went in, they changed her and upgraded her computer. But I just kind of call them as guides. And hey, can you contribute? Can you help me change this for the greater good? And I woke up kind of blissful. And I'm like, all right, I'm choosing bliss. So, and then as I chose bliss, things started going the other way, and they started to move forward in greater momentum. I still don't feel like there's the momentum's fast enough, but that's also a conclusion. It may be right where it needs to be right now. Have you ever felt like, it's not like right? It's like you just conclude it's not, but what if it's just fine? So here's what we're going to do next. I do, for those questers of you that sent in your lighthouses, I do want to, I went through them, and I just have a few notes that I wanted to invite you to. Because like for us to create anything, it takes a little bit of, for the lack of a better word, let's see, what is the word? It takes a little bit of emotional or passionate ties to create it, right? So I was like, okay, so what would be the strategic way to create a compelling lighthouse? And when I did that, like what it would be a strategic way to create this, I made a few notes. And, so if you guys were struggling in making your lighthouses, I think my notes are actually over here. I have a few processes for you guys too that I think you're going to love. Oh yeah. So here's what I was playing with to create a strategic future vision. What if we would look back instead of forward? Now, don't freak out. I'm not going back on what I teach, but what if we would go a year out from today, right? We're at the end of January, a year later. Now, instead of just going, where am I then, right? Let's just be there for a second and be in the energies of achieving all the lighthouse's desires. Like, that person that is lit up, on fire, in their flow, in their joy, in their momentum, right? So you are that, right? Right now, which is 2022. You are that. So what happened this past year to make these changes when people are like, gosh, I saw her a year ago and now look at her? What happened, right? And what if we would reverse engineer it from future instead of engineering it from erasing past and then asking for the future? How might that change your lighthouses? Faith was by far the one that wrote the most about her lighthouses and sent all 5 to me. And I know that she didn't mind if I talk about her. So I was gonna just, she wide them down, every one of them. And they all also brought her back to like living her fullest life. And my comment or my thought is there still any evidence that you're using against you from what you created in the past that created these lighthouses? Does that make sense? So are you using any evidence of wrongness from what you previously created that might be creating these lighthouses? And everything that is, would you destroy and uncreate? So what if right now, from a very present place, with the resources, with the relations, with, let's just go down those 5 things, right? With the awareness of being, with the others in your life that you create, with the contribution that you want to give, and the mastery to grow. If you would erase all the past and you'd actually make your lighthouses from the future of what would have happened this year, would have created this year, how might that change things? Okay, I'm just going to go back. Comment on the feed. Faith said, yes, I have evidence of wrongness for what I didn't create in there. Yeah, that was, I think that that's just an awareness. Because I also feel that same way about myself. Like, you know, like what is that, right? And what if we can, you know, have this within the lights of the lighthouses propelling us forward? What if we can have that wrongness fade away? Maybe that's an even separate lighthouse. What if one of our lighthouses, or maybe we could integrate it energetically as a part of each lighthouse, that there would be no wrongness? Just some little thoughts. Rama says, I haven't sent mine yet. Need a deadline. The deadline was today. Okay, I'll do better at giving you dates. Thanks. Beth said, when I look at my lighthouses, I realize they all need to be revised. So I'm in the process. Love it. All right. Well, and Beth, let me ask you this. What if they could just be 1 word or 2 words? Maybe you don't have to go as deep as you're trying to go. Because you know, I think that for me, like one of mine is be impeccable with money. And that's just like a word almost, but it has, you know, I used to be that. I know the energy of that. So I can have that with greater ease than probably people who haven't ever done that. But, you know, just kind of playing with. Yeah. So I just want to, I think in the keeping the momentum, you know, if your lighthouses maybe need to be revised, right? So now the new deadline is next Monday. Okay. If you want to revise your lighthouses for next Monday, go ahead and send them in and we will talk about some of the specifics with it. Let me go through my notes here. So the new piece that isn't yet videoed in, that I was going to put up February 1st, but I might just go ahead and put it up. I did record it. It just needs a few edits. Is the 7-layer dip. I'm calling it the 7-layer dip because it makes it more fun, but it's the 7 layers of why. That's the new piece to looking at your lighthouses so that you get like the energy of, if I choose this, what does it create? What does it create? Yeah, Faith, yours was amazing though. I was like trying to nitpick a few and then I was like, gosh, this is quite amazing. And Faith, what I also have to say is, you know, it was when you started it and you said, I just have to offer gratitude, you know, for the things in your life and this, that, and the other. I was like, usually I would have read that as just words, but with you, it's like it actually was the energy of gratitude. So I just wanted to comment on that too, which was cool. But so the 7-layer dip is the 7 layers of why, you know. So with the impeccable with money, it's like, why do I want to be impeccable with money? I've been through this, and just kind of, okay, so because I would like to play with more of it. Why do I want to play with more of it? Because it's fun and it's flowy and it's joyful for me to play with it. Why do I want fun, joy, and play? Because it's exciting, or it makes me feel like I'm really living in flow, and I'm not holding back, and I'm having flow, right? And what I shared was most of mine comes back to like really, really living, really being alive, really playing on fire. So cool. So where are you still feeling stickiness, paralyzed to take action? And what is that? Is any of you still having any of that like slowdown that doesn't belong to you? That you would like to create. Another thing that I was going to say about Faith, she said she'd like 3 hours of unfocused time a day. And I thought, I like that. I would like to have that too. And if I why it down, I see why I would like to have it. But I wonder if instead of putting it that way, as it seems like might be an obligation, maybe instead it's just written a little different in the energy. Maybe it's like 3 hours of deeply focused in flow time where I feel like I'm just playing to create. So just a thought, just a thought. Sharon said the slowdown is real, and my response to that is only if we're human muggles. That was just kind of what came through my energetic system. Cool. Let's see, what else do I have? What do you guys have? Who would like to take the floor next? Yeah, I think one of the things that, when I first talked about lighthouses, that I don't feel like I think that like success that is not like what the reality speaks of success, but like success in everything, like there is fog, right? Like there's fog where you've got to look down to like just see the next step, right? There's going to be adversity, there's going to be resistance no matter who you are. And one things that the lighthouses really gave me was like a sense that there would be light that cuts just a little bit through the fog. Like if you were in a boat, right? And you needed to avoid certain rocks or something, and their lighthouse was there to navigate you. And I feel like if we are just like writing down like words that we're unattached to, that's not really a, something that we are like going and asking for, right? Really truly connecting with the universe and saying, universe, I am really requesting these 3 hours of deeply focused in flow time, right? Then it's just a word that's written one day and it's forgotten the next. And my invitation to you is, what is it that you really want here, right? What is it that you're really going for and really asking to create? And does it need to be on a timeline? Maybe, quote, deadlines need to be, a part of the homework, right? Whether you're in quest or not, right? So it's like, come on, guys, it's the end of January here. Step up. What do you want? What do you want? So we can actually start navigating for the next 90 days. Like, what's in your 90-day note, right? Cool. Let's talk. Like, what's going on? Faith says, I think there is some judgment in the way of the way I phrased it. Well, that I possibly, I wasn't concluding that, but possibly. I do want to make it feel fun along the way. Fun is important to me, so I'll make sure it's in my lighthouse too. Yeah. Cool. I just felt like that needed to be talked about a little bit. So what else? What are some of the tools that you're using to get out of like the human muggleness, right? Was that helpful to go through those 4 areas and actually unhook yourself from it? What else would open the door for us to get out of this, faster? Or even better, what if we could get the awareness of what that yuck was about and then ask for change and then be done with it, right? Because I wasn't the only one that had it that day. I mean, I talked with 3 other people that had it. So I'm just saying, it wasn't mine. And I can prove it. All right. Cool. So I have a couple other things that I wanted to go through. But I want to know how else I can support you if you have something going on or would like to address something in the feed that we can talk about today. And if not, then I'll just keep going because I'm very good at that. A couple of the processes that I was playing with was who or what are you avoiding being by avoiding this? Who or what, and that means energetically, who or what are you avoiding by avoiding this? Who or what are you avoiding by avoiding this? How many points of view that stick you and your body in this reality are you using against you to keep yourself stuck? Let me say it in more articulate flow. How many points of view that stick you and your body in this reality are you using to keep yourself stuck in the human mogul? Ooh, let's go mogul. Muggle reality. That was a Freudian slip. I'll go mogul next. How many points of view do you have that keeps you from being a mogul? And everything that is would you destroy and then create? How many points of view do you have that keeps you stuck in this reality? How many points of view do you have that stick you in this? I was just trying to see what happened. Oh my gosh, goodness. Let's see, some of the other things that I was going to chat with you, and I just don't feel like it's light right now, was really talking to about congruency. But I think that I think we've gone there. It just feels energetically like maybe we are slowing down. Faith said she's using the tools from Access Consciousness about opalescent white light. I haven't heard that one. Feeling cared for, supported, and cuddled, carried forward is how Lauren Pauly phrased it. I like that because it's kind of like flow. It's kind of like laying in the river and going with the flow. Yeah. Raman says it's not always quick, but I journal. Yeah, that journaling helps, right? For sure. Who else has tools to get unstuck? Just unstuck. It's funny. I had a conversation right before this, and I'm actually thinking that stuck is a conclusion too. And, like maybe we're not going fast enough, so we conclude that we're stuck. So how many points of view about speed do you have that's keeping you feeling stuck when you actually aren't? And everything that is would you destroy and uncreate? Ooh, that's a good one. It's a good one for me. Cool. Anything else? I feel like I kind of want to wrap up this call, and I just feel like we're done. But to review, if you'd like to review, and if anything else comes up, let me know. To review, I just wanted to talk about kind of the four, there's 4 states: being, relating, creating, and growth, right? And if you look at the 4 states of what we aspire to be, where are we, where might you be stuck? Where are you not, aspiring to expand your being, your relationships, your contributing, and your growing, right? And if you flip it and come out a conclusion around it, how can that open the door for happiness? So kind of like that way of going about it. And Diane said, I've been thinking of the difference between performing a conscious action and allowing everything to come to me with ease, joy, and glory. I love that. I think I think it's both in a way, right? I don't know that performing is the right word, but I think we're called, right? I think ease, joy, and glory includes being called just to create with co-creation and conscious action. Gotta love those words, right? What are you being called to create? Yeah. Ramos says movement helps. Yes, I do. I would have to agree with that. Movement. It's so funny that I follow somebody that's really is all about how a movement is creating her movement, right? Like she brings that into her work. She does personal development, but she really brings that into her work, which I think is phenomenal. So thank you. Anybody else have some tools that they'd like to offer, things they'd like to change before we wrap up? So let's just do just a tiny, quick little energetic activation to get us back into the magic and back into our flow so that we can create this week and create your lighthouses. All right, just kind of close your eyes for a second and start up the energy of awesomeness. Whew, taking a deep breath down through the nose all the way down to your feet and back up. And if you were going to ask the universe for anything, go ahead and put that out there. And invite in all the sprites and fairies and dragons that would like to contribute to this and invite them in to offer you guides, some of those signposts for that ask. It's time to play with your dragons, and it's time to create. So what whispers and wisps of awareness are they delivering, bringing in, contributing to you? And would you be willing to bring it all in, receive it, flow with it, create with it? and invite in a totally different, totally new, playful, creative possibility. What now is possible that wasn't possible an hour ago, a week ago? And wherever you still have some sort of sense of not good enough, not worth, not enough, what if these fairies and these dragons could be right by your side and remind you that you are magic, that you are the contribution, that you are the change? Anything that doesn't allow that would destroy and uncreate. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And take a breath. And breathe fully in and fully out and fully in and fully out. And one more, fully in and fully out. And so it is. Go play, go play, go play. Oh. All right, when you slowly come back. Oh. So one other little announcement, that in the email that I sent the last couple of times, I had an opt-in for you to get the free Trello board for those of you that are interested. And then Trello for Bosses, all the videos are done and they will be up and ready for you, hopefully in a week. I am waiting on just a little bit from my assistant, Carol, who is helping her mom who just got diagnosed with liver failure. So been contributing energy to the shift required and the peace of mind that she may require. So that's coming out. And if you have anything specific that you want to address during these calls, I really just want to kind of keep the energy going and keep it growing and keep expanding. And keep you in action, like keep reminding you to read that 90-day note, to revisit your lighthouses, to get it on a calendar, right? To get it on a Trello board, right? I mean, this, have, processes and tools to keep you in your routines, so that, we are 20 pounds lighter after we do naked in February, right? So I'm really excited to do that class, and I am really excited to really create some changes with some of you. So thank you guys for coming and playing with some dragons. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and put these YouTubes in a little unlisted feed for you guys to have access to, a little playlist. So that you can kind of go back and be like, what were those 4 little things that she said to use to get unstuck, right? It just seems really light, so that you have a reference. So thank you guys for joining me. Same time, same place next week. And I'll tell you some more about some of my adventures that I'm planning, because I've got a couple in the hopper. Beyond the Trello boards, I had another couple ideas. I don't know if I'm going to execute on them right away or not. So I didn't want to bring them up, but yeah, go firepower. Maybe we need a cheer. All right. Have a great week. Talk to you later. Oh, one of the things that I am going to do that I wanted to tell you about was I'd like to just have us start sharing some of our our life and our lifestyles, right? So if so I'm going to make posts like I wrote one the other day, like share your pets, right? Share your furry friends. And I would love for you just to kind of, I feel like we'll get to know each other better if we just share things. So if you see a post, and did you know also, I didn't know this, but one of the people that I watch on a Facebook group told me, on the Facebook page it goes from the about, it goes about, discussions, announcements, and then at the end is files. And then at the very end, there's these 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, it will give you a way to manage your notifications and a way to, follow the group or leave the group or whatever. If you go there, you can manage the notifications so that when I post, something would actually pop up. So I don't know, it's a choice, right? You choose it if you want to, but I wanted you guys to know that because I didn't know how that, it seemed like some groups were popping up a lot and then some of them I just even couldn't find again. So that might help if you want notifications when I post those. So I just wanted to let you know about that. All right, guys, have a great week. I will talk to you next week, and then we will do even more cool stuff. We'll see what happens next week. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.